Yes, on this glorious summer's evening, our live action on this Sunday game comes from Croke Park as the All-Ireland Hurling champions Offaly put that title and their Leinster crown on the line against Wexford in this provincial hurling semi-final. Yes, the sun shines down beautifully on us here on Croke Park this evening. Good evening to you and welcome for what we anticipate will be a cracking match between Offaly and Wexford. The teams have just come out onto the field and this should be a really blistering game to see who will play Kilkenny in this year's Leinster Hurling Final, because as Kilkenny had a win over Dublin in the previous game here, that was as expected, Kilkenny winning 4-13 to 2-10 in the final analysis. Not one of the classics of our time, I have to tell you. All right, let me introduce our panel to you. Ciarán Barr, former Antrim player and of course former Dublin player, is with us here this evening, and so too is Cyril Farrell, the former Galway hurling manager. Gentlemen, you're very welcome indeed. Ciarán, just a brief word about what we saw there in that semi-final. Easy win for Kilkenny, really. Yeah,
I think in the first half it was quite competitive, and then I think once they built up a lead they took the foot off the pedal and relaxed. The level of hurling descended down to a common denominator in the second half. I'd say a common denominator was the standard of hurling that Dublin were playing. And I think a couple of subs came on for Kilkenny because of injuries, and the whole standard dropped and it was very flat. A couple of goals later on by Dublin raised it a bit, but the tempo completely died the last 15-20 minutes.
Ciarán, we'll talk to yourself and Cyril about the upcoming match in just a moment, but as I said in the introduction, it is of course the All-Ireland champions Offaly putting that title on the line here this evening after winning the All-Ireland final, of course, in that dramatic and historic win over Limerick last September.
It's going to be Johnny Dooley who will take it. Would he go for a point? I think he's been instructed to do so. He's going for a goal, and he's got it! A goal and 3 points! That's exactly what Offaly require, and what the game has needed. It puts a completely different complexion on this game. Look as he composed himself, drilled it in, mercilessly beyond the wall of defenders, and away to the far corner. So just 2 points between the teams. Look at the number of players they had back on the line defending, and straight between Ciarán and Dave Clark. Offaly now feeling that they can turn the tide. But O'Connor's in! It's another one! It's another goal! Pat O'Connor has got it! Offaly are in front by a point!
That's the one that did it for Offaly. Limerick, of course, shattered by that. Who knows, maybe later on in the summer Limerick might have a chance of gaining revenge for that. There's a lot of work to be done between this and then, however. Going back again to our panel, to Ciarán Barr and to Cyril Farrell. Cyril, this game that we're looking forward to should be a different kettle of fish altogether to the semi-final just gone by.
Yeah, well, I think, Michael, the semi-final, everyone would expect Kilkenny to win it well. The difference really was there was a skill level factor. But here today, now that you're going to have a thrilling game, both teams have fenced themselves. Offaly are All-Ireland champions, and Wexford believe that this is their year. They're a very quiet kind of a build-up, but on their day they can be very hot.
Well, that Wexford team that you're talking about, Cyril, are just coming out onto the field right now. Interesting thing, I suppose, in both camps in the lead up to this, there's been sort of behind the scenes problem. Offaly have had a few problems. Then, of course, during the week, there's all this business about the Wexford captaincy. Now, that can't help.
Well, it's not the ideal preparation, but after saying that, it could actually work in the reverse for Wexford, because when there's a terrible lot expected of them in the last few years, they haven't really delivered on the day. Now today, there's been that talk about the captaincy, but I can't. Liam Dunn and Tomas Dunn and these fellas, they'll play out with their skins for Wexford, irrespective of who's captain. Now Offaly last year, and again this year, Michael, the training hasn't been kind of really flying, but they're doing it on the day that counts, so they'll have it all to play for here this evening.
Sir, you're in a different province to Offaly, but nonetheless, of course, Galway and Offaly are next door neighbours, so you'll be well familiar indeed with some of the things that have been going on behind the scenes. Some of the players not sort of satisfied with the setup this year, and they believe Eamon Cregan's been just pushing them too hard.
Well, that's the way it was a lot of players, Michael, but like if you were over a team, say you're going to push, and Eamon wants to retain a title, but last year they had problems as well in training. You have to come out in the pitch. I watched them about 2 weeks ago training, and they weren't really buzzing, but like they are very economical in their play, and any chances you usually get on the pitch they'd score.
Well, Eamon Cregan has led this team to a Leinster title and to an All-Ireland title, but for Wexford there's a new manager in place this year. That's Liam Griffin. Now, a short time ago, Tony O'Donoghue spoke to both men.
We are All-Ireland champions, but so far we haven't done anything very impressive since winning the All-Ireland final. We barely scraped out of the second division, and we're in the first division for the first time in a long time, but haven't been impressive.
What about your preparation for this game? Are you happy with that? Obviously not.
No, I'm not happy with it. We've had a lot of injuries. We've had 3 rounds of the championship played already in Offaly, and in those 6 of our players got injured. So our players aren't fully fit. there are 3 players not playing: Rigney, Timmy Dooley, and Joe Erity, or Billy Dooley and Joe Erity. So we're going to do the best we can with what we've got.
You're surprisingly unconfident. It's not like you.
I'm not unconfident, but I every match, no matter who you play against, you have to give them respect. And Wexford are out here today. They're going out they could strike a brilliant day today, and we could be in trouble. But we've got to go out. We've got to do our best, and we'll see how it goes from there.
Naturally, we are hoping to get something out of it. We're up against it with the All-Ireland champions. We know that, but that's not worrying us at all. We're going to have a right good go, and well, let's see what will happen on the day. I think we can do well if we've taken a gamble. If it comes off, I think we can cause an upset.
What about the difficulty in Wexford during the week with the Ulster Ballet incident?
Storm in a teacup for sure. You know, okay, a lot of sensitivities with some officials and various people at the management, but it's over as far as I'm concerned, and I think that's the way it should be. This was just a minor incident at the end of the day. I know it's serious for the club, but we were left with no choice. Unfortunately, I'm very sorry that it should have arisen, but that's life.
And Liam Dunn in the dressing room, he's quite happy not to be captain today.
Liam Dunn.
Yes, that's Liam Griffin, the Wexford manager. I've been talking to Liam a couple of times in the last few weeks. I must say I'm very impressed with him. A straight-talking man, and well, I believe he could do good things for Wexford hurling. Will the beginning be today? Well, that remains to be seen. Now, elsewhere in the championship, turning briefly to football and to Ulster. My goodness, it's been another day in the Ulster Football Championship. Today it was Tyrone against Derry. Derry were the hot favourites, as other teams have been before in Ulster. Tyrone beat them by a point.
McGarity. Tyrone are finding it easier to find white jerseys at the moment. Paul Devlin. Well kept in by Lawn. Lawn forced to go to Lone. Gives it back to Gormley. Gormley has a chance. And Tyrone go into the lead. Jeffrey McGonigal. Gary Coleman. Tries to force it through. Jeffrey McGonigal. McGonigal has possession. He's going to go to Lone. Off the post it comes, and Gormley can't get it. A letter for Tyrone. Damien Cassidy. Eamon Burns. Will this be an equaliser? Burns taps it into the chest of Finbar McConnell. Just a little bit of inexperience. And Derry's hopes certainly seem to be disappearing. The game is over. The first Ulster Semi Final has been decided. The 13 men of Tyrone have overcome the challenge of Derry.
Yes, Derry, the hottest property in the championship this year. They're gone, as or down, and Donegal before them. And my goodness, what an Ulster championship is turning out to be. On that note, let's take a full check on the day's results in Gaelic games. You can see in that replay between Laois and Carlow, a win for Laois, and a crucial goal scored in that match. They were level at half-time. Down south in the Munster Championship, my goodness, what a scoreline there between Kerry and Tipperary. 7-12 to Tipperary's 1-13, and Kerry had scored 5 goals in something like 10-15 minutes of the first half in that match. Cork also having a good win over Clare down in Portwee Keeve, so things not working out for Clare down there. Confirmation of Derry and Tyrone there. And Mayo are winners in the West. They've beaten Roscommon by a scoreline of 2-11 to 1-10, and so it's a Mayo-Galway Connacht final. That game will be played in Tuam. Now, confirmation of the results of the matches played earlier on here today at Croke Park. That's Kilkenny against Dublin, 4-13 to 2-10. Dublin winning that. And in the All-Ireland Hurling B Championship, a win for London against New York, 5-7 to 5-12, 4-12. That should be the final score there. 2-point win for London. That's it then. It's Offaly versus Wexford coming up after this commercial break. Tyke, can I talk to them down there?
Everybody knows that milk's for babies, so charming, disarming, whatever they do. Everybody knows that milk's for babies, and when you know it, baby, milk's for you. Soft baby skin, strong baby bones, bright baby smile, and ooh, great muscle tone. Wouldn't you know it, baby, milk's for you. It's a health kick, baby.
Feeling is believing. Take any Philly shave on 2 months trial.
Let the colors of crown paint shine a light on me. Don't just paint it, crown it.
Electricity and Bendix fridge freezers, washing machines and electric cookers. You'll find the right ingredients for a great kitchen at Power World, Tume Road, Galway.
Be humane to your pets. A program pill once a month stops fleas from breeding. Consult your vet or chemist. Program from SEBA. Ruff!
Together, home and car insurance costs less at PMPA. Phone or call direct to your local PMPA branch.
See how Castrol motor oil reaches every moving part of your car's engine faster. Now, see it at normal speed. Insist on Castrol.
With more features as standard, the Mitsubishi Lancer.
Head for a weekend of racing excitement. The Budweiser Irish Derby, Sunday, July 2nd at the Curragh.
If you're looking for a bite that's as big as a bus, all you need filling up, you can take it from us.
You want more of. It's got biscuit, caramel, all covered in Cadbury's Dairy Milk chocolate.
You've got friends to see, you've got things to do, and the only one bar is gonna satisfy you.
You want more of.
Play Lotto. Who knows? It could be you.
Park, the cheer of the crowd goes up for Offaly versus Wexford live here on the Sunday game in the Leinster Hurling Championship Semi Final. Let's join our commentary team of Ger Canning and Tomás Mulcahy.
Thank you very much indeed, Michael. Yes, the Leinster Championship is now down to just 3 teams. Kilkenny through to the final. Will it be Offaly? Will it be Wexford? Offaly making just 3 changes in the team that won the All-Ireland, as Offaly won the toss and they played from right to left in the first half. And here we're expecting a much, much better game than we had in the opening bill of fare here, which was the first of the semi-finals. That's swept out of defence there by Liam Dunn, who lost the captaincy because of well-documented reasons during the week, although on the programme he's down as Liam Dunn captain. First bit of business for David Hughes to deal with. Played, of course, against Wexford in last year's Leinster final. The race for possession here. John Troy looking sharp. Awfully concerned, as you heard beforehand, about the preparation going into this, but Wexford have also had a lot of local club matches. Here's George O'Connor, today's team captain, outside to Sean Flood. The target there was Paul Codd against Martin Hannamy. He gave Hannamy quite a bit of trouble in the league when they met last. That was back in March. Shane McGuckin here, forced into difficulty. Once again, Liam Dunn whipping on it. Larry Murphy coming well out from his corner forward position. Indeed, only Billy Byrne is left inside. John O'Connor, the fullback, fumbling the first one. Needing the assistance here of Tomás Dunn. Fouled, free out to Wexford. And Tomás Mulcahy, what are your expectations here of this particular semi-final?
It's a hard match to call, Ger.
Basically, I suppose Wexford, if they're going to win this game, will be looking for big performances from George O'Connor, the likes of John O'Connor, maybe Martin Story and Tom Dempsey up front. On the other side, Brian Whelan going in at number 6. John Trice centre forward will be looking for big performances from them as well.
That's a big one inside there towards Billy Byrne. Looks for the opening score. Inside instead towards Larry Murphy. And David Hughes called into action for the second time, skipping away from the would-be challenge. That'll settle down the goalkeeper, who's in there, of course, in place of Jim Troy, one of the 3 changes. Good ball back in there again. Brian Whelan under pressure, the centre half back, in his own end line. Out there by Joe Dooley. Johnny Pilkington just to the left. So a bright start by both teams, but no score so far after about 2.5 minutes play. Damien Fitzhenry, 3rd year playing in the Senior Championship. Just about won there by PJ Martin, but gathered up here by Paul Codd. Nice ball inside for Tom Dempsey, who floats over the opening point of the match to settle down his team. Tom from Buffer's Alley. The flags flying proudly for the Slaney-siders. Well, they've been one of the great enigmas, I suppose, in senior hurling over the last 10 years in particular. You've got to go all the way back to 1977 for their last Leinster Championship win. George O'Connor misses that one. Gathered instead by Colm Keogh. Dispossessed by Johnny Pilkington. Great piece of stealing there. Back to Dáithí Regan on his left-hand side. Fired in, missed by Declan Pilkington, but it's Brendan Kelly who has it. Kelly the full forward, looking for parity. Difficult one for Damien Fitzhenry. That could so easily have crawled inside. And it's going to be a 65, the umpire decides. Well, you certainly gather by the voices and the demeanour of the Wexford players, notably goalkeeper Damien Fitzhenry, they felt it should have been a puck out. So Johnny Dooley on a very hot evening here in Croke Park, as it has been, I'm sure, all over the country. Expectations certainly of a very evenly balanced match here. A real kind of championship tie. Johnny Dooley knocking it in with effortless ease, the first 65 of the match, and he levels up the game. So a point apiece. This the style of a great free taker. Johnny Dooley got 10 points against Wexford in their last meeting in March, and he hit 9 in last year's Leinster final. David Hughes in just his second Leinster Championship match. Dáithí Regan makes a great catch. Trying to get away there from Robert Hassey. Good vision outside. Oh, but just a little fumble at the most inappropriate moment. Michael Dygnah was trying to catch. So another 65 going off the fingertips there of Tomás Dunn, part of the Oulart the Bala contingent. This time not quite so central for Johnny Dooley. So a point apiece, and a chance here for Offaly to go in front. Looks good. Another point at 65 by Johnny Dooley, underlining once again the value of a tried and trusted free taker.
Lyster, that's probably his second touch in the game so far, and it's 2 points, and he could have a big influence in this game before it's finished.
Well, whether it's from the centre or out towards the right, he's absolutely deadly, measured to perfection. Back live with the action. This is Tom Dempsey, going this way and that. That's going right, however. Well, whatever about their hampered preparations, Offaly, they are so difficult to beat here in Croke Park.
Yes, sure, they used possession very well, and the difference there now between Offaly and the attack and Wexford, I mean, Wexford have hit 2 or 3 bad wides at the start of the game, and they could rule those misses by the end of the game.
Broken down by Johnny Pilkington. Waiting for it is PJ Martin. Martin Hannamy, determined to try and bottle up Paul Coll if at all possible. That's Paul Finn. Out to Liam Dunn. Threading the hand pass through to Martin Storey. This to put the sides level, but it goes away to the left. Wasted possession. 3 wides now for Wexford, just 1 for Offaly. Crowd certainly enjoying this very pleasant evening. At times you felt it was almost too hot for the players in the previous match. Before that again we had a Senior B Championship match which London won by 2 points against New York. Touchdown by George O'Connor. Paul Finn up into the corner. Larry Murphy has already decided to discard the helmet, and that indeed may be caused by the intense heat today. So it'll be a sideline ball for Wexford, and Martin Storey goes across to take it. Didn't play in Tuesday night's league match. And that's gone sailing to the left. Oh, difficult to measure it from this angle here.
Great effort by Martin Storey, but again, you'd question, I mean, hitting a sideline ball wide from that angle, you're giving the goalkeeper a free puck down the field again, and at this stage of the game, maybe Wexford should be bringing the full forward line more into play.
It's certainly going to be very curious to see how the normally very strong Offaly half-back line cope with Wexford's half-forward line, Tom Dempsey and Martin Storey in particular. Here's Dempsey against Brian Wheelahan. That'll be a sideline ball for Offaly. PJ Martin whipping it in there. The flight path of the ball followed the whole time by Liam Dunn. Now switching it into the inside forward line for once. Billy Byrne avails of the chance, takes the point, and the sides are level once more. Now that I think is what my guest commentator tonight, Tomas Mulcahy, was saying they should be trying to do. Quality ball inside, and it's 2 points each.
Yes, sir, I think you have to give great credit to Liam Dunn in this situation. He hit a great ball into Billy Byrne, and he just turned and hit her over the bar. Great score by Wexford.
The half-back line for Wexford under a bit of pressure here. Robert Hassey places Larry O'Gorman. Sean Flood put under some pressure. John O'Connor likewise, the hand pass in there. Reaches Joe Dooley, looking to re-establish Offaly's 1 point lead. He's always good for a few points, one of the senior men on the Offaly team. Just 2 Dooleys in the side tonight. 3 points to 2 the position. Liam Dunn coming back. That's John Troy on the 40. Good alert corner back play by Tomas Dunn, but he's bottled up and it's back with Troy once again, looking for another score, and helped over the bar by Damien Fitzhenry. Fitzhenry making sure that he didn't concede a goal or tap it down for an incoming forward. So now Offaly by double scores. Well, Offaly play a simple yet very effective game. Rory McCarthy over there contesting with a trimmer looking Daithí Regan than we've seen for some time. George O'Connor not standing on ceremony. Good ball forward. The hand pass into space. Rory McCarthy trying to knock it on for Tom Dempsey, just overhit however. PJ Martin coming out for it, getting the assistance of his brother Kevin, the all-star wing-back. That's Johnny Dooley trying to pick out Declan Pilkington in the corner. Over there minding the house is Colm Keogh. Stalemate broken up here by Sean Flood. Knew he was about to be hooked by Joe Dooley. Did enough and then whipped it forward towards Larry Murphy. Over there is Shane McGuckin. Well, a lot of kicking in the last minute or so. Sunlight into the eyes of the Wexford mentors and substitutes this evening. Wexford sideline ball. Well, they had a little consultation as to who should hit this one. It's entrusted to Rory McCarthy. Rory is a St. Martin's player, same as George and John O'Connor. That's just about 4 miles outside Wexford town. Delivered inside. Won by Brian Wheelahan. This exciting young player down towards John Troy. Added to well. Robert Hassey gives that one to Joe Dooley. Inside towards Brendan Kelly with John O'Connor. And indications early on that John O'Connor could have his problems at fullback. It's something of a new position for him. Again, the pressure back on the Wexford backs. Declan Pilkington heard a call from his brother Johnny. Not a good shot, but goes into Declan Pilkington. Tight angle, and he's put it wide. Perhaps the angle was just a little bit too acute. But a good bit of understanding between the Pilkington brothers. Early indications of a bit of nervousness by both teams. Fitzhenry's puck out. The uncertainty broken up here with Shane McGuckin claiming possession. He's fouled. Held back. Referee tonight, incidentally, Eldon Moxivna of La Clia. McGuckin, part of the St. Rina's contingent from Banagher in Offaly. Same club as David Hughes here. George O'Connor under the dropping ball was John Troy, who got a little nudge on it. Out to Joe Dooley, that's going right. So a game which has yet really to settle down and to provide the real excitement that we've come here to expect. Good connection from Damien Fitzhenry. Deep into the inside forward line. Paul Codd. Well, he hit it instinctively, but also inaccurately. The wide so far, 8. 5 of them going to Wexford. Once again, the puck out aimed down towards John Troy, with a leap in the air by George O'Connor, diffusing the possible danger. Kevin Martin into John Troy once again. He kept the ball moving inside towards Michael Dignan. Well, Sean Flood reading the intentions and the signals well. Joe Dooley had just pushed ahead too far. Here's Johnny Pilkington. Michael Dignan on the 45-metre line, going by the cover of Tomas Dunn. This is dangerous. And he's put it over the bar. Good individual score by Michael Dignan, his first of the match. Dignan doing well in the run that time, and it's 5 points to 2.
Great score there again from Offaly, and you can see the Offaly forwards are moving at great pace again, and great play again by Johnny Pickles in the midfield.
Ball is broken down there by the wing forward Rory McCarthy. Touched outside there to Martin Storey. And that again has gone wide. I don't think the Leinster Council will need the video evidence to see that that was well and truly outside the post. Eamon Cregan in consultation with his selectors, including Joachim Kelly.
Something Wexford will have to improve on, Ger, before this game is out. They seem to be hitting an awful lot of ball wide.
They have been perennial underachievers. Heaven help their poor followers down the years. They put in one good performance and then struggled to put in a second consecutive performance of similar fashion. They have a free kick. Or sorry, a free with the hurling. And Liam Dunn the taker. Picked up by Tom Dempsey. Turning on his right-hand side. Needs to be good, and is. Second point for Tom Dempsey. Maybe an intriguing enough contest between Tom Dempsey and Brian Wheelahan, who's played so much of his hurling at wing-back. So just 2 between them. It's been quite a long while since Wexford got the measure of Offaly in a championship match. And here's Larry Murphy, one of the newer players. Oh, there was a glorious chance there for Billy Byrne. Just took his eye off it and couldn't contain it inside, and it's gone for a 65. Larry Murphy rather provided the ball inside here for Billy Byrne, and he let it drop down. Oh, should have been in the back of the net, you feel?
Yes, great chance for Wexford.
Liam Dunn to take the resultant 65. Lobbed in towards Billy Byrne to make amends. He made a good contact with it. Something of a lost start, the overhead pull like that. Billy Byrne's second point, and just 1 between them. So just about 18 minutes gone in the first half. Player picking himself off the ground is Paul Finn. Player came on as a sub for the last 12 minutes against Westmeath. Liam Dunn inside his own 65-metre line. Dropped in dangerously and over the bar. Liam Dunn will take the credit, I think, for that. So the referee's gone in.
Lyster, I think the referee's given a free out for a square ball.
Certainly has. So it remains 5 points to 4. Éadán Macsíbne ruling out that point by Liam Dunn. Here it is again. Keep an eye then on Billy Byrne. Perhaps inside in the square before it came in. Yes, he was well in there.
He was well in the square, job, but you must question whether he had any kind of influence on the ball at that stage.
Here's Dunn again. Striving to make amends. Looking for the point. Good save by David Hughes. Looking over his left shoulder. Down towards Johnny Pilkington. Added to well. The game now building up in tempo. It's generating a bit more heat. Players warming to the occasion. Line ball to Offaly. And Johnny Pilkington in no particular hurry.
Johnny Pilkington and Liam Dunn certainly having a great tussle between themselves in midfield.
So far, just about even Steven in that particular department. Stopped by George O'Connor. He drops it. Brother John comes to his assistance, and he's left it there. Brendan Kelly and John Troy trying to make something of it. Still John Troy in the shadow of the Hogan stand. Back to Johnny Pilkington, and he opens up the broad shoulders and puts it over the bar. The team captain with his first point of the day. So 2 between them once more. Puck out taken very quickly indeed, trying to put some pressure there on Kevin Martin and his fellow backs. It'll be a free to Offaly. And as usual this afternoon, we have some sideline news from Tony O'Donoghue. Tony.
The Wexford bench, Ciarán Paul Cott has switched with Rory McCarthy on the Wexford team, so he's gone to left half forward, and McCarthy in at right corner forward. But the main news from ground level here is the heat. It's desperately hot here, and both benches are anxious that water is passed onto the pitch as often as possible, because the sun right in the eyes of the players on this side of the field, and they want water in as quickly as possible to both sides.
Thank you, Tony. Little nick there into the head of John Troy. Liam Griffin, the Wexford manager, taking his drop of water as well. But it's the players who need it. Dáithí Regan will be the sideline taker. Inside towards John Troy. Player pushed off, it is Paul Finn. Free to Wexford. Certainly players, as Tony suggested, visibly suffering weariness and tiredness because of the elements today. Referee is back once again. Eamon Cregan looking a bit bemused. Just waiting for the slitter to come back. So Tomas down to hit it. On a perfect but very hard surface here at Croke Park. Offaly leading by 2 points. Midway through this first half, a fumble by Kevin Kinahan. Ball comes out towards Paul Codd, and he's put it wide. That's now 7 wides for Wexford. Far too many.
Far too many, definitely, Ger. And certainly the heat is going to have a big impact in this game as well. As we've seen in the previous match, players got very, very tired towards the end. And even though it is late in the evening, the sun is still shining very strongly here.
Dáithí Regan over there in a muscular confrontation with Paul Finn. Brendan Kelly out quickly, but he's adjudged to have chopped down on John O'Connor. Pleads his case to no avail. It'll be a free to Wexford. John O'Connor will be the taker. Also the long-range free taker of this side, taking up the berth vacated by Ger Cush at full-back. And now that facial injury which John Troy picked up, being attended to by the Offaly doctor, Brendan Lee. At one stage John Troy might well have been an option for goalkeeper like his brother Jim, but he played there very successfully at minor level. But then at club level he turned in to a forward and followed into the inter-county senior team as well with great success. Been a lot of concern about facial injuries in top matches and club matches this year. It hasn't been a great year, and you have to question once again why some players, even as young as John Troy, don't wear a helmet. And you never wore a helmet?
No, I never wore a helmet, Ger. And obviously maybe the GA could look at a situation where maybe he'd go off the field for a couple of moments and maybe be replaced by somebody, you know. Just sad to see somebody with blood rolling down their face on the field.
John O'Connor the taker, blocked down just about by Brian Wheelahan. Kevin Martin in some trouble as well. And here come Wexford in the shape here of Paul Codd, looking for the score, and the umpire once again waving it wide. The umpire's wisely going back when the action develops to get a really good angle on the shot and be absolutely certain about the decision.
Again, great possession by Wexford, and Paul Codd had a great opportunity there to hand pass the ball aside to Larry Murphy, who was in much better position than himself to score.
Well, time and again we've lost the slitter, and surprisingly enough there isn't a great selection of balls waiting behind each goal to try and keep the momentum of the game going. David Hughes with his latest puck out. Little to choose between the teams. Offaly availing of their chances that little bit more. Martin Storey taken back by Brian Wheelahan. Brendan Kelly turned around well. John Troy going for his score, hit well between the posts, and a point for John Troy, his second. And that probably underlines once again the real difference between these two teams. Offaly so adept at taking their chances, 7 so far. Wexford profligate, just 4.
Yes, again, and great credit again to Brendan Kelly. Won a great ball out in the middle of the field there, and found a man in freedom again, and it was a great score by John Troy.
So far, 4 of the Offaly forwards have scored. Here's Martin Storey. One he'd expect to put between the posts, and does, his first point. Keeping his side well in touch in a game that hasn't produced any goals so far, but 12 points, 7 for Offaly. Switch on the half-back line for Offaly shows Brian Wheelahan going to right half-back and Kevin Martin into the centre. Kevin Martin marking Tom Dempsey. John Troy putting the head down, expecting it to come his way, which it does. Low into the corner towards Michael Duignan. Duignan against Tomas Dunn. The shot from Duignan, and that's between the posts again. Very accurate shooting. A second point for Michael Duignan. And it could well be that Offaly are thinking about an early change here. Early as in the 28th minute. So, let's see who's going to make way. Michael Duignan has made it 8 points to 5. PJ Martin seems to be the one who's about to make way, and has done so. And the player who's come in his place is Gary Cahill of Barr. Gary, who starred in the club championship against Dunloy in the finals here back in March, coming in to try and steady this Offaly defence. The clearance by Brian Wheelahan to midfield towards Johnny Dooley. George O'Connor in some trouble. Here's John O'Connor. John still coming to terms with his new role at full back. Ball out of defence there by Robert Hassey. Brian Wheelahan without a stick. Gary Cahill going back to try and clear the lines, but running into one of the corner flags. That's going to be a Wexford ball. Wexford are trailed by 3 points. So it's going to be, once again, Martin Storey in front of an attendance of 17,093. Many of them, I'm sure, have gone to the beaches and perhaps are watching this on TV this evening. And Martin Storey has put it wide. So many wasted chances now. 9 wides by Wexford. And you can be absolutely certain that Liam Griffin will have some hard words to say at half-time, which is now just over 5 minutes away. Confirmation then that Gary Cahill has replaced PJ Martin.
And that has been the big difference between the teams so far, Gerard. Every time Offaly went up the field, they looked like scoring.
This is once again broken up here by Colm Keogh. Wexford's free. I think they're a bit disappointed with the fare on offer so far. Liam Dunn will hit this. Dropped in towards Billy Byrne. Runs on to David Hughes. Out towards Johnny Pilkington. Just touched it on for himself. Beat 2 Wexford men. Wrong footing Declan Pilkington, his brother, however, and it's George O'Connor who gets it. Swept back into the centre. Rory McCarthy in there, fouling Dáithí Regan. Chopping down. The free to be taken by Brian Wheelahan from inside his own 65-metre line. Again, George O'Connor rises up for it. Fumbled down, however. Rory McCarthy. Chance now to just measure his pass inside towards Martin Storey. Runs on instead. Martin Hanamy back there, clearing his corner to Dáithí Regan. Pressure back on the Wexford backs. Michael Duignan and Brendan Kelly both going across for the same ball. Space opening up now for Michael Duignan. Awkward enough angle. Comes back off the post. Tomas Dunn with the clearance. That's a bad one across to Declan Pilkington, who fumbled. Sean Flood just trying to unsettle him somewhat. Across towards Brendan Kelly. awkward enough angle. Tomas Donegan tried to close him down somehow. The full forward, adventurously away from his full forward position, back to Johnny Dooley, scorer of those great 65s earlier on, but from play here, he's put it to the left. But just the fourth wide for Offaly, for a man who is just back from his honeymoon. The race for possession here, quick off the blocks was Martin Storey. Inside, towards Billy Byrne. The wides just mounting up now against Wexford with just 3 minutes to go to half-time. And once again, we've got some sideline news from Tony O'Donoghue.
Yes, from the Offaly sideline this time, and Declan Pilkington is coming off the field to be replaced by Pat O'Connor.
Well, he got, of course, one of the late goals to win the title last September. Declan Pilkington didn't really impress in the opening 35 minutes. So off he goes, and on comes Pat O'Connor. Well, certainly Offaly have not been slow about making changes. 2 subs in the opening 33 minutes.
Certainly, the management have acted very fastly, and even though they're 3 points ahead, they've made 2 substitutions already.
Here's Johnny Dooley, and that's a much better one. A really accurate shot by Johnny Dooley to go with the 265s earlier on. Keeping Offaly noses ahead the whole time. And you get this irritating feeling nonetheless that if Wexford could only settle down and not be so nervy in their finishing, that they could well be in front at this stage.
You did right there, Gerald. Wexford has just as much possession as Offaly had in this game, but find themselves 4 points down at this stage.
Colm Keogh put under pressure by Pat O'Connor. Just gets it out, but only as far as the waiting Joe Dooley. John O'Connor breaks it down. That's the fullback. Here's to Pat O'Connor, and that's over the bar. In critical positions in the Wexford defence, you do not sense that they have the players right now who are in the right positions to give them that kind of calmness and soundness that they really do need. This once again, where Wexford were in a real dither, and that was put over the bar. Dáithí Regan. Added to by John Troy. Michael Dygan not making much headway. Here's Johnny Dooley, however. Another shot, another point. Johnny Dooley with 4 points, 2 of them from play. And really his marker, Robert Hassey, will have to be much, much tighter. They've suddenly opened up a 6-point gap, which really is ominous.
Okay, again, great score again by Johnny Dooley, but again, you must give great credit to John Troy. He's never allowed George O'Connor into this game, and it was a great ground stroke that put Johnny truly through at that stage.
Well, surely Wexford will be thinking in terms of substitutions. The men shoring the middle for them are the O'Connor brothers. Martin Storey. An option in the past would have been to bring George into midfield to try and give them an extra edge there. George, now 35 years of age, with over a dozen seasons at senior level behind him. And from his point of view, it hasn't been a great dozen years. He's been on a Leinster losing final team on 6 occasions. Liam Dunn. And that's off the post. It's been a miserable half for Wexford. Their finishing has been wretched. 11 wides against just 4 for Offaly. Cross towards Johnny Dooley's side once more. Getting too much latitude from Robert Hassey. Now they're missing Larry O'Gorman, and there's the knock in the arm. The chop down on Johnny Dooley. Very painful indeed. Hassey had a reputation for something of a fiery character. He's calmed down a little bit in recent times. Made his debut against Carlow, I think, last year, and lasted just 8 minutes before being sent off. And this is where, in frustration, he chopped down on Johnny Dooley. The match into injury time.
back. All right.
No goals to date. 11 points to 5. And here's some further target practice for a very cool, calm Johnny Dooley. That's his 5th point. We were saying that he's notched up 10 and 9 in recent meetings, and he's well on course for another field day. The referee signals the final piece of action of a first half that hasn't really excited the imagination as we hoped it might. But Johnny Dooley has done his business well. He settled down Offaly with 2 good 65s, tagged on 3 points from play after that. And at half-time, Wexford have a lot to do. They've got to improve their shooting. They've got to improve their coordination. They trail by 7 points. It's Offaly 12, Wexford 5.
Everybody knows that milk's for babies, so charming, disarming, whatever they do. Everybody knows that milk's for babies, and when you know it, baby, milk's for you. Soft baby skin, strong baby bones, bright baby smile, and ooh, great muscle tone. Wouldn't you know it, baby, milk's for you. It's a health kick, baby.
Create your own dream home with a prize worth £24,000 from 2FM and the Sunday World. One lucky person will win this fabulous prize, which consists of £8,000 cash from National Irish Bank, an £8,000 Norman Pratt Conservatory, an £8,000 ORM kitchen. For details on how to enter, tune into 2FM or see this Sunday's Sunday World.
If it has to be there, it has to be DHL.
See how Castrol motor oil reaches every moving part of your car's engine faster. Now, see it at normal speed. Insist on Castrol.
It's clear. It's revolutionary. It's new Right Guard, double protection clear gel. You can't work as hard as Right Guard.
From the best-selling novel by the author of Jurassic Park.
What was that?
Enter a world where man is the endangered species.
I never saw any animal move like this.
Congo at cinemas everywhere from June 30th.
It's easy to see why more and more people are choosing the McChicken Sandwich Extra Value Meal at McDonald's. Extra value meals just $2.95 at McDonald's restaurants nationwide.
No.
Let's put a flake in this break.
When you're gasping, grasping for a break,
Ain't no chocolate like the taste of Cadbury's flake. Delicious flake fingers, crispy wafer, all covered in Cadbury's milk chocolate.
that makes a time out. Just take a time out. A Cadbury's time out.
No matter what you're doing, yeah.
Put a flake in your break.
With Cadbury's time out.
One can have a dream, baby. You can make that dream so real. One can talk about being in love. You can see how it really feels. One can wish upon a star. You can make that wish come true, yeah. One can stand alone in the dark. You can make the light shine through. It takes two, baby.
Welcome back again to Croke Park. So at half-time in this Leinster Hurling Semi Final between Offaly and Wexford. Offaly leading on a score of 11 points to 5, and really this game has not sparked into life. Now, I've been watching that match in the first half with my panellist Ciarán Barr and also Cyril Farrell, who has joined us. Ciarán, as I just said there, it really hasn't taken off. I mean, there hasn't been a great deal in it between the sides, but it hasn't fired into life exactly.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like maybe a factor that maybe some of the players will consider that it's late in the evening, and that might be a contributing factor. But I think Wexford have basically hit wides from scoreable chances. Not wides that players were under a terrible lot of pressure, but wides when they took chances when they should have maybe either passed the ball or made better use of the possession that they had. And that's the difference between the two teams. I think Wexford can look at themselves and say, yeah, we're dominating several sections of the pitch and yet we're not on top. And Offaly are probably saying to themselves in the dressing rooms, how are we so far ahead here? Like we have a scrappy ball, but any ball that we've got, we've used. We've put it to a player in a good position. We've tried to work the ball into the middle of the pitch, and when a shot is taken, it's a high percentage shot, one that you can score from, and not one out on the sideline.
Cyril, a 7-point deficit in hurling isn't a great deal, but you have to look at this Wexford side and start to say to yourself, how are they going to claw that around the way they're playing at the moment?
Well, they are winning quite a lot of ball out the field, and they definitely have worked on their puck outs. Like Fitzhenry's fine if has their puck outs. It's the delivery of the ball from there in, they're going a bit long. Now you'll find there is a nice little breeze out there, that against the breeze that ball will shorten a bit, and it'll suit the inside forward line of say young Cod, Billy Byrne, Larry Murphy. Now they've switched in Rory McCarthy, Paul Cod has come out, but like if Billy Byrne gets high ball dropping in there, they'll be quite dangerous. What Wexford really need is a goal. Often they've been very, very economical, and Johnny Dooley in particular, any chance they've had the nearly score, it's 11 wides to 4, but Wexford have a terrible lot of play if they can just get a few scores on the scoreboard.
In a way though, Ciarán, having that amount of play and being 7 points behind is even more frustrating than if you were a point or two behind and hadn't half the play.
Yeah, it's more frustrating for the full forwards, because the full forwards are standing there and they've done nothing wrong, and yet people down in Wexford or everywhere else were saying, well, why aren't the forwards scoring? It's got nothing to do with them. The ball that they're getting in is going straight over their head and wide, or it's going over the sideline and they're taking sideline cuts and hitting those wide. So they're not being given a chance or an opportunity. I think in the previous match we saw Kilkenny guys, when they were under pressure, playing the ball across the field in front of their forwards. Now it gives it 50-50, but at least it's 50-50, it's not a wide, and the ball is still in play, and it forces people to make mistakes. It puts people under pressure and it makes them hurl. If you're good enough, you'll win the ball. If you're not, the forward will get that break and score. That's the difference at the minute.
Well, gentlemen, we'll talk a little bit more about this match in a moment, but already here this afternoon at Croke Park, we saw Kilkenny, as expected, qualify for the Leinster Hurling Final. That was after their win against Dublin. 4-13 to 2-10, the final score in that. A couple of late goals taking the look off the scoreboard, I suppose, in Dublin's case. Let's have a look at some of the key scores, indeed, from that match.
Adrian Ronan trying to whip this one in, saved by the goalkeeper, and DJ in quickly now. Eamon Morrissey, that's a goal! DJ Carey whipping on it. Canis Brennan chasing after it with Mick Morrissey. Kilkenny in control in most departments, and Eamon Morrissey might have had a goal the last time, got a point instead. This time he kicks it. They should play a bit more football in Kilkenny. McCann. M. Simpson, and now it's fed outside to Shane Cook. Great pass from John Toomey, and Cook drives it in home.
Yes, that was Kilkenny then qualifying for the Leinster Hurling Final. It wasn't a particularly brilliant performance from Kilkenny. We were talking about that a little bit earlier on, but then in fairness they were well ahead all through that match. I suppose it wasn't a day in which you were able to, or indeed needed to, fire yourself up fully. The Leinster Final will be a different affair, no doubt. Now, the two teams, of course, are in the dressing room at half-time. In fact, they're just about to emerge back out again for this second half. Ciarán Barr, what will Liam Griffin be saying to those Wexford players at half-time?
I think, as Cyril said, it's a factor that the breeze will hold the ball up. But if I was him, I'd be saying, look, you're on top, you're winning possession, keep going at the backs and in midfield the way you are. But when you get possession, look for a forward. Either play it wide or play it low. Look for a forward in the second half, because that breeze, you're not going to be able to score from 50 yards. And if you're under pressure, just dump it inside and follow it. Chase it in, because the break might come out and you win it again. Now, they're not out of it. They're not out of it at all. It's a fine pitch. A bounce of a ball is not going to decide the match, and they must get stuck in up front and play that ball in low.
OK, just now we have an interview with Mick Kinsella. Tony O'Donoghue has been talking to him on the sideline.
Indeed, he's with me now, Michael, and you're making some changes for the second half, Mick.
Yeah, Adrian Fenlon is coming on at midfield, and Paul Finn is moving to wing forward, and Rory McCarthy is coming off. Larry O'Gorman is coming in left half back instead of Robert Hassey.
Well, you had to make those changes. You've only yourselves to blame for that first half performance.
We were very poor, about 12, maybe 13 wides as far as I can remember. Not enough direct hurling. If we don't start pulling on the ball, keeping it moving on the ground, we're not going to beat Offaly. We've an uphill battle from here.
What did you say to them at half time?
Well, exactly that.
You feel you still can do it?
If they don't, well, we have a mountain to climb, and hopefully we'll be able to climb that mountain. They're good enough, but they have to believe that they're good enough.
Okay, Mick, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Back to you, Michael.
Yes, Mick Kinsella accepting that Wexford need to change their tactics and change their general performance for this second half. Can they do it? Well, there's 35 minutes to find out. Let's go back again to our commentary team of Ger Canning, and he's up there in the commentary box at the moment.
Thank you very much.